I thought I had died and gone to Bridgerton. Come with me on this next adventure. I've wanted to go in this building for a very long time, and recently I got my chance, so here we go. It's been called one of the best kept secrets in Oklahoma, and I have to agree. I apologize up front. This video is going to be a long one. I'll give a little bit of history and then simply show you this beautiful place. The Guthrie Scottish Temple. It's the world's largest Masonic center at a whopping 400,000 square feet. Before we look around, I think it's important to understand the purpose of the temple. The Scottish Rite is one of the several branches of Freemasonry or Masonry, referring to fraternal organizations that trace their origins back to local guilds of stonemasons that, from the end of the 14th century, regulated the qualifications of stonemasons and their interaction with authorities and clients. When you think of stonemasons, think of the men who built castles and cathedrals in Europe. Freemasonry, the teachings and practice of the Fraternal Order of Free and Accepted Mason. I will say there is a hint of mystery here. It's the largest worldwide secret society, an oath-bound society, often devoted to fellowship, moral discipline, and mutual assistance that conceals at least some of its rituals, customs, and activities from the public. Members take their rich history and tradition very serious. This is where it gets a little wonky for me. There's a degree system, unlike the basic 3 degrees of Freemasonry, which are entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. The Scottish Rite consists of 33 degrees. The first 3 degrees are considered Blue Lodge degrees, and the Scottish Rite begins from the 4th degree to the 33rd degree. The Scottish Rite is organized into bodies that confer different sets of degrees. These bodies include the Lodge of Perfection, which is the 4th degree to the 14th degree, the Chapter of Rose Croix, which is 15th degree to 18th degree, the Council of Kadosh, which is 19th degree to 30th degree, and the Consistory, which is 31st degree to 32nd degree. The 33rd degree is an honorary degree typically conferred for outstanding service to Freemasonry or society. The degrees of the Scottish Rite elaborate the teachings and philosophy of the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry. They incorporate lessons in morality, philosophy, history, and ethics, often using allegory and symbolism. Allegory is a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. So basically, what I got from all this is that the more teachings and education that a man pursues within the organization, the more degrees and accreditation he acquires. Let me know in the comments if I'm way off base. The current building is actually the second Scottish Rite building that was built in Guthrie. The first building was traced back to 1899 in Oklahoma Territory. It's set across from the current Logan County Courthouse at Harrison and Broad Streets. The only reminder of the building is the historical marker telling the story of the birthplace of the Scottish Rite in Guthrie. The current Scottish Rite Temple was built in the 1920s and was built because the Masons had outgrown the previous building. The Guthrie Temple offers visitors a peek at architecture and design influenced by ancient civilizations of the past, among them the Assyrians, the Romans, and the ancient Egyptians. Tours are available Monday through Friday, excluding holidays, at 10 a.m. My tour was $10 and lasted about an hour and a half. Tours start in the atrium. The atrium is very impressive, measuring 190 feet long and 52 feet wide. The stained glass ceiling is an instant eye catcher. Beyond the atrium is the main auditorium. The keystone over the door was quarried in Jerusalem in the tradition of King Solomon in the building of the Great Temple of Jerusalem. The Pompeian Room is representative of rooms unearthed in Pompeii, buried when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. When the Masons use the temple for reunions and other meetings, their wives are not allowed to attend such events. The women will use this room as a lounge, waiting, or reception room. The interior design team made the temple exceptional. Marion and Catherine Davidson were contracted in 1924 to complete the interior decoration of the temple. Marion was with the Oklahoma City firm of Hawk and Parr. He designed the plasterwork and woodwork found throughout the building. Mrs. Davidson's watercolor renderings of the rooms, fixtures, and furnishings are beautiful illustrations of her skill and vision for the temple. Many of the watercolor sketches are under glass on display in the Temple Museum. It was unusual for a woman to have so much influence on such an important project at the time. Catherine Davidson's watercolor sketches show how each room would look. Catherine designed the rugs, the wall decorations, fixtures, furniture, and drapes. Much of the work was completed by European artisans. Neither Marion or Catherine witnessed the finished temple. Before the building was complete, the Davidsons left to join the interior design team for New York City's Rockefeller Center. The Assyrian room represents 700 BC. The Assyrians were strong people who liked combat and sports. They used fire pots filled with peat hanging from the ceiling for light, heat, and cooking. The theme repeated in the light fixtures adorned with Assyrian sphinx. Animal motifs are used throughout the room, which is painted freehand to illustrate the effects of smoke and soot. This is by far one of my favorite rooms in the temple, the Crystal Room, adapted from the style of 18th century English architecture. The carpet was woven in one piece in Donegal, Ireland, made of camel's hair, as are all the carpets in the temple. The yarns are in 23 colors that Catherine specified. Measuring 30 by 45 feet, the carpet weighs 4,000 pounds. Rolled up, it was shipped to Guthrie on 2 railroad flat cars. When delivered to the temple, it was too large to fit through the doorways. A window was removed along with some of the trim to lift the carpet into the Crystal Room by crane. The Crystal Room is also known as the Gold Room because all of the hardware is triple plated in gold, even the screws. The chandeliers are Czechoslovakian crystal. The Guthrie Masons can claim ownership of the first legislature in Oklahoma. When they bought the 10 acres from the city of Guthrie for $1 in 1919, with a promise to add $10,000 in improvements, the land already included the building where the state legislature met in regular session in 1909 and special session in 1910. This hallway leads to the Masons' 238-room inn and the room that is now called the ballroom. But the ballroom is where Oklahoma state government was held for the first few years of statehood. Many people forget that Guthrie was the original capital of Oklahoma before Oklahoma City. Some say the seal was stolen in the dead of the night, while others are adamant it was legally voted to be moved by the voters of Oklahoma. That's a story for another day. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear about that in a future video. I would love to stay a night in their inn and roam these historic hallways. You can lease the site for special occasions, and weddings are very popular to be held at the temple. I can see why. It would be unforgettable. The rates seem very reasonable. I'll link more information in the description box if you're interested. I don't think they mention why there's letters above this archway in this hallway. If you know the answer, let me know. This is the Rose Room, another one of my favorites in the temple. If you look too long at the ceiling medallion, some people get dizzy. It looks like it makes the whole ceiling slant or is off center. Can you tell I love this room? I didn't take a lot of video here, but I did take some photos, so I'll share those with you. The blue room is on the second floor opposite end of the rose room. The blue room has 3 remarkable stained glass windows depicting the ages of man, youth, manhood, and old age. The scene is constant, changing only with the seasons and the stations in life. The Egyptian room is a small auditorium that seats 650 people. This would be the temple's little auditorium. The Egyptian room represents the mythological court ruled by Osiris and Isis. Isis and Osiris were among the most important gods in ancient Egyptian mythology. Osiris was the god of the dead. He was also the god of crops and plentiful growth. Isis was his wife and sister. She was a mother goddess believed to have great magical powers. According to legend, Osiris and Isis had a brother named Seth. Seth was the god of violence and disorder. He tricked Osiris into climbing into a wooden box. When Osiris climbed in, Seth slammed the lid shut, threw the box in the Nile River, sending Osiris to his death. Stories tell that Isis mourned her husband's death deeply. She recovered Osiris's body and buried him. Isis then used her great magic to give new life to Osiris. From then on, he was considered the ruler of the land of the dead or underworld. Osiris was said to grant people life after death in the underworld. Something weird happens when I enter the auditorium. I want to get your opinion. I pan to the right of the stage, and then I pan to the left. It looks like someone closes the curtain when I pan back to the left. Tell me what you think in the comments.
So it's reinforced concrete and it's seriously very thick. You can see how thick that is. It's not going anywhere. But the insurance man I told was this heavy of a document.
Really?
This room is decorated in Italian Renaissance opera house. We can do anything from Garden of Eden, the Garden of Eden to King Arthur. These are actually first because
Now this room smells like cigars.
well, that's not part of the tour, but there is a cigar room there, a cigar club, and it's $100 a year. But you get a key to the outside door, so you come in when the building's closed. There's Wi-Fi back there. There's a lot of restroom.
If you stuck around for this entire thing, I want to thank you tremendously. You're the real all-star. I know it was a very long one indeed, lots of info, and it's a massive place. You should book your own tour if you're going to be near Guthrie, Oklahoma, or if you'd like to see more info and check it out on their website, where you can take virtual tours of all the rooms. I'll put the info in the description box. I also want to mention that 8 films have been filmed at the temple, and the latest is scheduled to be released on August 30th, Reagan about President Ronald Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid. I will have to check that out so I can spot all the places filmed at the temple that made its way into the film. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I would appreciate it greatly. Until next time, bye for now.